process of constitution writing in Nepal has never been easy. In 1990, after a people's movement which was called Jan Andolan 1, Nepal got its first constitution. It provided for a constitutional monarchy and a parliament. But then Nepal for a decade from 1996 to 2006 saw a Maoist insurgency. The Maoists wanted to establish a communist republic in Nepal. However, they were persuaded to join the multi-party democracy, and in 2006 Nepal saw another movement, another democracy movement called Jan Andolan 2. As a result of that, the Maoists joined the multi-party democratic system, an interim government was formed, and it was decided that there would be a constituent assembly election. This constituent assembly election was held in 2008, and it was to write a new constitution. However, it completed its full term of 4 years without writing a constitution. After that, again in November 2013, another constituent assembly election was held, and a second constituent assembly came into being. That set itself a deadline of 22nd January 2015 to finish writing the constitution, but it couldn't meet that deadline. And it didn't meet that deadline because there were a lot of contentious issues, and now there's an agreement on all those contentious issues, and it seems Nepal will be able to write a constitution now. 4 major political parties in Nepal, 2 in government and 2 from the opposition, have agreed on all the difficult issues which were preventing the writing of the constitution. These are basically 3 issues. The first issue is what kind of government Nepal should have. Should it be a presidential form or should it be a parliamentary form with the Prime Minister heading the government? The second issue was how to carve Nepal out into provinces and then reconstitute them into a federation. And the third issue was what kind of judiciary would Nepal have. Now they have all agreed on how to move forward on these 3 issues. Well, more than India, it's important for Nepal to have a constitution. Once Nepal has a constitution, it will have a stable government, it will have proper administration, and it will have proper democratic representation at all levels, from local bodies to provincial assemblies to the National Assembly. As for India, stability in Nepal will help India pursue its long-term interests. Instability means you cannot get into long-term economic linkages with Nepal, you cannot pursue any long-term strategy. Instability has also meant that forces inimical to India, particularly China and Pakistan, get some space in Nepal when the water is muddy, when the politics is not stable. In the past, we have seen ambitious Nepalese politicians have used China card to balance India, and Pakistan has used Nepal, an unstable Nepal, to funnel terrorists and counterfeit currency into India. The 4 major political parties have agreed that they will have a parliamentary system of governance, that is, a Prime Minister heading the executive. The Maoists, they wanted a presidential form of government, but now they have decided that they will not insist on it, they will only write a note of dissent. There will be 2 houses of parliament, an upper house representing the provinces and a lower house. In the lower house, there will be 275 members, but they will be divided in the proportion of 60:40 in terms of directly elected and those brought in under proportional representation. The upper house will have 45 members, 40 from the 8 states, that's 5 each, and 5 will be nominated by the president. Then there will be provincial assemblies. Now, the provincial assemblies will share power with the center. Well, carving out the provinces or defining the provinces was one of the biggest hurdles in writing the constitution up to now. The Maoists, who have a huge support base in the ethnicities and in the Janjatis, wanted provinces to be defined geographically in terms of ethnic homelands, and the names also reflecting the preponderance of a particular ethnicity or Janjati in that province. The other mainstream parties, which consist of upper caste, the Brahmins and the Kshetris, they did not want any provinces named or defined on the basis of ethnicity. Now it's been decided that there will be 8 provinces, and a state restructuring commission will be set up. This commission will define the boundaries of the state and submit its report within 6 months to Parliament. And as for the naming of the provinces, it has been left to the provincial assemblies. They will name their own province with a 2/3 majority. The judiciary will be independent of the executive and the legislature. It will be exactly as it is currently under the interim constitution. However, the agreement provides that there will also be another court, a constitutional court, which will hear cases of distribution of powers between the center and the provinces and between the provinces and the local bodies. It's been provided that this constitutional court will have a life of 10 years from the day the new constitution is promulgated. Many in Nepal think this is a cop-out. They think it's a cop-out because unable to define the provinces, unable to define federalism, the whole thing has been pushed on to a commission. Commissions and committees in South Asia are seen as a way of postponing a problem. Also, people say that only 4 parties have agreed. There are 30 opposition parties, and although 2 big opposition parties have signed this agreement, there are 28 other small marginal parties whose position is not yet clear. They would want to be included in this agreement, and it remains to be seen how they are included in this venture.